here. The agenda today is pretty straightforward. We're going to take a quick look back to see how Blu-ray has been doing, both since the format first shipped, since inception, as well as during 2008. Then we're going to look forward, excuse me, a bit to see what's in store for the format of 2009, as well as beyond that. Then we're going to do a quick product announcement roundup, and then, as always, we'll finish up with a Q&A session. I guess I probably don't need to mention this, but we have gifts for everyone, so please don't forget to pick that up on your way out. We gave you tickets when you checked in. You should all have one, and when the time comes, we'll have you pick those up. So, how are we doing? On the hardware side, which is where I'd like to start, we actually have some preliminary U.S. hardware sales statistics since the format first shipped in June of 2006, which seems to me like 2.5 decades ago, but it's actually only 2.5 years. What we have gotten from Display Search is 10.7 million Blu-ray capable players having shipped since June of 2006. That actually coincides quite nicely, I think, with what we heard from Sir Howard Stringer's keynote earlier today, where I believe he said approximately 10 million shipped, and the Digital Entertainment Group also announced yesterday nearly 10 million players. So this is a sell-in number, and I think it actually tracks quite nicely with that. So 10 million number, it works really well as a number of players that have shipped so far. This, by the way, does include PS3. We always have done that because PlayStation 3 is a device that, of course, plays Blu-ray discs, and we know that while we readily acknowledge that not everyone plays or watches movies on their PlayStation 3 console, we know that a very significant percentage of people do. So we've always included that number because we also know that many people may discover that feature as time goes by and begin using that as a player, even though they may not have done that from day one. So that includes PS3. Now, it's interesting to note, because a lot of people think of DVD as sort of the overnight success, but actually if you look back, we got some data from CES market research that shows that 3 years into the life of DVD, 5.4 million players had shipped into the US market. So when you're considering DVD versus Blu-ray, we're actually looking at a significantly larger number of Blu-ray players that have shipped, and actually only 2.5 years of life for Blu-ray. So we're doing quite well. In 2008, we saw an approximately threefold increase in Blu-ray hardware sales compared with 2007. So again, the rate is picking up very rapidly as far as people acquiring players. But we also like to look at household penetration, because this is an area that I think tells the story in a more meaningful way, how format adoption rates actually happen. And we were very lucky to get a slide provided to us from Adams Media Research, which I'm showing up now. This is a historic adoption of key home entertainment technologies at the 3-year point in each of their lives. In other words, if you look at TV or color TV, you're looking at about 3% for television after 3 years, and CD was about a little bit under 2% after 3 years. So even our friendly format DVD, which we all know and love so much, was a bit above 4% penetration after 3 years, and with Blu-ray, we're nearing 8%. And I should note, this is not units, this is households. Some households have more than one unit in the home, and that's why the numbers may look a little different. But that's actually very, very exciting for us in the BDA to see that Blu-ray is doing so well after only 2.5 years. Software-wise, how are we doing there? We now have nearly 1,100 Blu-ray titles available in the US market. Sorry, that's me breathing. It sounds like a bowling ball rolling down. We also, in the last few months, had the very first title to surpass 1 million discs sold, which was The Dark Knight from Warner Brothers, which is a big milestone for the format. And we also, in October, had our first 2 million disc month, which was 2.3 million, followed in November by a 3+ million disc month, and in December by an 8+ million disc month. Now, I think this is particularly noteworthy to look at these numbers and realize that during this fourth quarter of the year, and one of the most difficult retail quarters in history, Blu-ray still managed to grow very significantly. In fact, the next slide is one of my favorites because it shows very graphically where we're at now with respect to disc sales. In 2007, we had 5.67 million discs that were sold. In 2008, we were up to 24.09 million discs sold just in that year alone. Adding it all up since inception, we're at 30 million discs that have sold in the U.S. market, which, you know, if anybody has any doubts about Blu-ray taking off or being well accepted by the consumer, I think this slide should dispel any of those, doubts. By the way, this is a four-fold increase compared with 2007, so that's a significant growth rate. Now, with respect to enhancing the consumer experience, we've always said that Blu-ray is more than just high definition. We actually said beyond high definition as one of our catchphrases for the format, and we meant what we said because if you look at, for example, BD Live, BD Live, of course, is an internet-connected player. This is a player that tries to take advantage, of course, of packaged media as the ideal source for linear program playback. But it also brings the immediacy of the internet into the household as well. So if you're enjoying a title that's been authored as a BD Live title, you can actually have additional content you can download, or you might be able to have a social networking experience with other consumers who are watching the movie at the same time you are, or play a game or what have you. This is such a brand new technology, it's always difficult to say this is the killer app for BD Live. But we now have 21 BD Live titles that have shipped as of the end of the year. And we had, at the end of 2008, 9 BD Live capable player models on the market. And by our reckoning, including PlayStation 3, greater than 75% of all BD players sold are BD Live capable. So this is a very important part of the format that we expect to see grow pretty substantially. With 11 more players announced at the show, the population is growing pretty rapidly. Digital copy is another feature that clearly has added a lot of value to the Blu-ray experience because in addition to having that wonderful high-def viewing experience in the living room, you also have the ability to have a mobile version of that movie that you are including with the disc. And again, this leverages the strength of packaged media because typically these discs have a separate disc that contains a stream or a file that's designed to be used on a portable media player. And then you can easily transfer it to that device very quickly. There's no download necessary. This has proven to be a very popular feature, and with 53 titles already out with this capability, I think we can expect to see a lot more. Now, this is a subject that I think has a lot of people very interested right now, particularly at this show. There's a lot of 3D out on the floor. I think you can walk around and see it in many places. A lot of people asked about what is BDA doing with respect to 3D. And I just wanted to give you kind of a quick update on that. At this time, there's really no formal proposal within the BDA. Okay, there are also a fairly large number of technology providers that are showing a number of different approaches. And as I said, many of them are here at the show. We think that Blu-ray is really the best packaged media platform for 3D. And we are interested in studying how to combine the best HD experience with the best 3D experience. Of course, the quality of the overall experience, the compatibility, and the uniformity of that experience will be very important once we begin evaluating these various technologies. So that's where we're at right now with 3D. Okay. Now, at this point, we're going to take a look forward.